Good morning, afternoon, or perhaps even evening to everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Find Success in 2014, Digital Marketing Strategies for Hotel Marketers. As 2013 comes to a close and we begin to prepare for next year, it's the perfect time to start thinking about how you can set yourself up for success. In today's presentation, we'll reflect on what happened in digital marketing in 2013 and explore why visual storytelling needs to drive your strategy in 2014. Additionally, we'll get some great insights from two successful hotel marketers. My name is Darlene Rondo, and I'm the Vice President, Best Practices for VFM Leonardo's online merchandising group, and I'll be your host for today's event. A few housekeeping items before we begin. First, we'll be recording the webinar, and at the conclusion of today's session, we'll be sending you a thank you for joining us email with a link to that recording, which you can share or listen to again at your leisure. Additionally, you have a questions dialog box in your GoToMeeting panel. And as we move through our discussion today, please feel free to send in your questions, and we'll address them throughout the webinar as well as at the end of the presentation if we have time. We're also going to be tweeting during today's discussion, so please feel free to send in your questions there or join in the conversation at hashtag VFMLwebinar. Before we begin, I'm going to launch a poll because we'd like to get a sense of what you anticipate your 2014 e-marketing challenges to be. So I'm going to launch this poll, and you're going to see some questions on your screen, and just click the answer that most appropriately describes what what's keeping you up at night. So what 2014 e-marketing challenge is keeping you up at night? Is it, how do I find the time to manage social media? Am I allocating budget appropriately across all the major areas, search, mobile, social, website, and visuals? Or the last thing, which is technology is changing so quickly, how do I keep up? So I see everyone has found the polling capability. And so right now it looks like neck and neck is how do I find the time to manage social media, and technology is changing so quickly. So almost 2/3 of you have voted. We're going to wait another minute or so and give everyone a chance to weigh in. And this insight is very helpful to us as we move through our presentation, and it helps us in knowing what kind of content to put in the webinars for future reference. So the majority of folks have voted, and it looks like neck and neck is how do I find the time to manage social, and technology is changing very rapidly. How do I keep up? So thank you, everyone, for weighing in. We really appreciate that, and I'm going to close the poll, and we'll continue with our webinar. So first I'd like to welcome Rupesh Patel. After growing up in the hospitality industry, Rupesh is now the Vice President of ZENique Hotels. His responsibilities include overseeing the operations, sales, marketing, and revenue management of 5 hotels. And since 2006, his properties have won numerous awards, held #1 rankings on TripAdvisor, and maintained high revenues. Rupesh was named VFM Leonardo's merchandising hero for his extensive knowledge and use of rich media marketing for all of his hotels. Welcome, Rupesh. Appreciate having you here today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Excellent. I'd also like to welcome our second guest speaker, Melissa Bruckler. Melissa is an e-commerce consultant for strategic hotel investment and management company Granite Hospitality. Their portfolio includes IHG and Carlson Worldwide Properties. Melissa has been with Granite since its inception in 2006 and has over 20 years of hospitality experience in positions ranging from hotel operations, revenue management, opening task force, and systems installation and training, as well as various management positions. Also good to have you here with us today, Melissa. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so before we dive into the core of 2014 planning, let's first take a look at how digital marketing unfolded in 2013. Visual storytelling emerged at the heart of every marketing campaign in 2013. If you take a look at the way the web has evolved in the last 12 months, even on the sites you visit on a daily basis, you can see that it's more than just about talk. Pictures are bigger and more dynamic, and large blocks of text are dwindling. Streaming video is commonplace, and rather than simply reading websites, users are experiencing them. Another term that emerged in 2013, which you are going to hear a lot more of next year, is snackable content. And that's defined as bite-sized chunks of information that can be quickly consumed by its audience. In 2013, we learned to share easily digestible portions because on-the-go travel shoppers are more likely to engage with websites that offer bite-sized pieces of information and photos over a text-heavy website. And hotels can create snackable content by converting the material that they already have into small, easy-to-digest snippets of information. The best way to do this is to use visuals and short descriptions to convey your message to travel shoppers. Of course, visually driven stories dominated social media in 2013. Facebook reports that 6 billion photos are uploaded each month. That's over 200,000 per minute. Pinterest continued its explosive growth. Vine, which is Twitter's 6-second video product, debuted in January on the Apple operating system and expanded to Android in July, surpassing 40 million registered users in August. And of course, the popular photo sharing site Instagram added video sharing in June and exceeded 150 million active users in September. When it comes to sharing a visual story, video is a compelling, effective way to do it. YouTube announced that it surpassed 1 billion monthly users in the first quarter of 2013. And according to Google, digital video will become even more popular, in fact, the most popular form of social by 2017. Short-form videos have surged in popularity, accounting for more than 80% of the total video views. On-the-go devices continued to sell in record numbers throughout 2013 as consumers surfed the web, socialized, researched, compared, purchased, and chatted across all of the devices they're using during the course of their day. In fact, in 2013, smartphone sales alone surpassed 1 billion devices globally, and over 1.2 billion people accessed the web this year from a mobile device. And then lastly, there's a new marketing term that emerged on the scene this year to describe the emerging segment of people who typically access the internet from a minimum of 2 mobile devices. And yes, many of these people are your guests. Google points out that the digital elite move quickly from one device to another, often beginning the travel research process on a smartphone, then moving to a tablet or a laptop computer. And this demographic wants a seamless, consistent experience across all of the devices that they're using. So in this fast-paced world of constant connectivity, hotels really need to stand out to catch the eyes of these savvy multi-screen consumers. So that was a recap of 2013. Now I'm going to turn it over to Rupesh, who's going to talk about what his views are about how 2014 is going to pan out for his hotels. Rupesh, over to you.
Thanks, Darlene. So first off, as we all know, curb appeal is one of the most important factors in any real estate. For hotels, in many cases, this is the first things that guests would see when arriving to a hotel, since we never had websites or multiple photos for potential guests to see. However, it is no secret that in almost all cases, travelers are finding their travel needs online. The curb appeal has now become the web appeal. The traveler's experience begins right when they click enter or search on Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc. after typing in their needs, such as hotels near Disneyland or hotels near San Jose Airport. From this click on, the guest experience with your hotel has begun. The easier you are to find from the search, the better the experience for the traveler. Let's hypothetically say that you show up on page 3 of searches. Your curb or web appeal is non-existent because your building or website is covered by several other hotels that shoppers will click on or walk into before coming to yours. In order for your hotel's website to be easily found, you must use SEO or search engine optimization strategies to ensure people can find you easily with the use of keywords, meta tags, pay-per-click campaigns, and many other avenues. In regards to SEO, many brands have their own strategies for guests to find your hotel. However, many hoteliers that have branded hotels and boutique hotels have vanity websites such as myself. Your website management company can help you create a successful SEO campaign and strategy. Now, let's say that your hotel is easy to find and are on page 1, as we see in this example or the next slide that we're about to see. You're easy to find, which keeps a guest experience positive with this. Your appeal starts off well and now needs to end well by having an up-to-date, fresh website with many pictures, videos, tours, etc. with clear, concise content. As you see here, we have large pictures, and there's not too much text to kind of bombard the viewer. Having all of these factors secured will provide a solid web appeal to the shopper, which will then convert the shopper into a reservation. Not having these factors will easily drive the shopper to another search result to find a website that appeals to them. To give you a sense of how important all these factors are for online visual first appeal, in the first 10 months of 2013, between all my hotels, we have generated over $100,000 of total business booked through my vanity websites.
Wow, that's amazing.
Definitely. Going on to our next, social media is also a part of curb appeal or web appeal.
And you know, sorry to interrupt, Rupesh, here's a question that's come in from Carolyn. And her question is, how do you budget between marketing initiatives associated with search engine optimization and then budgeting against all your other marketing activities? How do you balance that?
Well, with us, we use Milestone, who's a website company here in the Silicon Valley, and their agents have really good knowledge on finding out how effective a certain campaign is going to be. We generally like to use more of the keyword searches and things like that, which is all free. In many smaller markets, you don't need to necessarily do a pay-per-click campaign, and in that circumstance, you really aren't using any budget.
That's a good point. That's good advice for the folks on the line. And here's your next slide.
Keeping up with human behavior and what they look for is key to gaining new guests and creating loyalty. Social media is the newest, strongest channel that is being underutilized by many hoteliers. As I mentioned before, curb appeal has become web appeal. Social media is another huge channel of web appeal that influences a shopper's decision on selecting a hotel. Let's say that a shopper finds your website, per the example in the previous slides, and likes what they see. In many cases, this is not going to be the last stop. The shopper may search for you on social channels such as TripAdvisor, Facebook, Yelp, etc. to see what your online reputation is and what other guests have experienced at your hotel. Having a proper management system for your online reputation is crucial, as these comments, surveys, blogs are all online for life. In addition to the online reputation factor for social media, there's also many other factors. When you have a Facebook, TripAdvisor, Yelp, Twitter, etc., you're constantly monitoring and you want to constantly monitor and engage with your guests. Your guests start looking at you as a friend or family since they constantly are up to date on your hotel. The way to engage your guests on Facebook is first off to ensure you have a proper strategy in place and a functional page. You can always delegate postings to your front desk or have somebody have additional duties, sometimes even your director of sales. Have a plan on what types or promotions you will offer and or interactive questions. These promotions do not always have to be discounts. You can always post a question such as, what is the most important factor for you travelers when selecting a hotel? You can then advertise that everyone that comments on this post will be automatically entered in to win 5,000 Marriott Rewards points or whatever brand loyalty program your hotel is with. Engaging guests to post, comment, like, etc. on your page pushes the exposure to many people who can also then like your page, and the post can become viral. In many instances, you can have 2,000, 3,000 people see one post at any given time. Additionally, for all you multi-property owners out there, you can always cross-promote your hotels to ensure that fans of one hotel's page can become a fan of your other hotel's page. In order to start getting likes or followers, your staff needs to first off promote at the property level to encourage your guests to find you on Facebook or Instagram or any other social media channel that you are on. Once you have many followers and have accomplished this interaction, the guests will tend to return to your property, since they would now rather stay with a friend rather than a stranger or a hotel they don't know anything about.
Hey, Rupesh, here's a question from Brenda from the audience. Before we answer that, I would like to remind everybody that there is a questions dialog box in your GoToMeeting panel. So if you haven't found where that is, take a second and look in your GoToMeeting panel, and you'll see that dialog box. And please send in your questions, because we'll be addressing them as we continue to move through the presentation. But Brenda has this question, and it relates to the cross-promotion that you talked about with your multi-properties. Can you expand on that a little bit, please?
Yeah, so for example, the slide that we're on right now is one of our hotels, which is Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Modesto. Modesto is a tertiary market. They don't have a very large airport. So a lot of the people that come into this area will fly into airports such as San Jose, Oakland, or San Francisco. Well, we own a hotel in San Jose, so many times we'll make a post on our Facebook page that says, you know, flying into San Jose for your visit to Modesto, visit our sister property, the La Quinta Inn San Jose Airport, for discounts and, you know, things like that. So you want to kind of cross-promote, and that's just an example. And you want to cross-promote in that sense, but then also cross-promote where you may have a hotel in one state and then you have a hotel in another state. Although the world is really big, in many instances it's really small. So if you want to if somebody enjoys one of your hotels and you promote that, hey, we also own these other hotels in these other areas, people may tend to start staying at your hotels, even if it's of different brands, because they know your operation is nice, your service is good, and they will become kind of loyal to your hotel group more so than just your brand.
That's a good point. Ben in our audience had a comment about that. He was worried that cross-promoting different brands might cause issues, but it doesn't sound like you've experienced that, and I think the point you make is a good one, which is, you know, it's lifting your entire portfolio of hotels when you do that.
Exactly, and really it's a matter of your operations, your customer service. If you're confident in the way that your hotels are providing customer service, in many instances, the brand is going to have a little bit of a factor compared to their experience that they're going to have. A lot of times, guests don't want to just stay at a hotel that's new and because it's of a certain brand, because we all know that across many brands there's inconsistency. So they just they will feel confident that, hey, I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express in Modesto and it was a great stay. I'm sure I'm going to get the same stay at their property in San Jose.
Excellent. And here's a question from Jennifer, and she wants to know your opinion on posting 80%, or should you post 80% of informational content versus 20% promotional content? You think that 80-20, is that a good balance, or is there a different balance that you use?
I don't really have a percentage base. Our strategy is kind of, at least, we have many packages, and so just to keep things fresh and up to date, because so many times when you post on Facebook, it's not only going to be seen by your fans, it'll be seen by other people doing real-time searches on Google and things like that. So at least once a week we post one of our packages and a direct link to our packages. We post about special events that are happening in the area. We post about holidays. We post about our local sports teams. So I don't really have a percentage based. You just want to kind of keep it even and make sure that you're engaging your guests, and it doesn't become a boring page where, you know, you're only posting about your hotel or you're only posting about holidays. You want to kind of spread it across all interests so that you're engaging your guests across multiple ways. So I would say that you just want to kind of keep it even and be consistent with promotions, or even highlighting your packages or highlighting a change of your hotel. Content can be, dissected into many different things.
Good point. Ready to move to mobile?
Sure. As we all know, human behavior has shifted from the use of computers to mobile devices in many cases. Having access to the web at any given minute allows people to search for things right on their phone or tablet, including for hotels. Personally, I have vanity websites for all my hotels. With my website tracking system through Google Analytics, I can see just how many people are using computers, phones, tablets. In this slide, you'll see that visits for mobile and tablet devices make up a great amount of my total users. In fact, at one of my hotels, the top devices for my mobile website views came from mobile devices. This tells me that I need to make sure that I'm visually attractive on a 5-inch screen, just as I am on a 17-inch monitor from a desktop. Best thing to do is to search yourself on a mobile device and see what the guest sees. On the next slide, you'll see that if you don't have a website or a mobile website, you can always use vBrochure. vBrochure I have for one of my hotels, and I don't have a mobile page, but you can redirect your mobile searches to vBrochure. With vBrochure, it's mobile friendly with videos, pictures, virtual tours, and much more, as you see here with our Holiday Inn Express and Suites Modesto. Straight from the vBrochure, the user can also click through to make a reservation, call your hotel, or share the page with a friend.
Here's our next slide.
From the beginning of days with television, people were getting sold on products through commercials, more than billboards, magazines, ads, etc. The only problem then and now is that TV commercials are extremely expensive, and our brands are the ones that promote these on channels. This TV advertisement is great for the brand. However, we all need to have our own commercials promoting our individual hotels, telling the story of our own properties across all channels. This is where vBrochure is another great tool. With their platform supporting full motion video or photo montages with voice, you're able to tell your story across multiple channels, including social media, OTAs, vanity websites, brand websites, and many more. These short 2 to 3 minute videos outline your entire hotel, telling the story of the services, the amenities that you offer, along with the location and design of your hotel. This video saves the urgent customer time on clicking through various tabs on your website and gives them a true first-hand experience. Videos are now something that we promote online on our websites, OTAs, brand.com, etc., but my team also uses them on our sales proposals. The video gives us an edge on our competition and allows us to send the link to decision makers to allow them to experience a hotel, since in many cases the decision maker is not local. I would have to say that the video has not only increased our conversion rate on sales proposals, but has also cut the decision time much shorter. This allows my team to keep on moving and capturing more and more business.
Excellent. Rupesh, do you want to explain briefly what a vanity site is? Some of our audience doesn't understand that term.
So a vanity website, like the slide we saw earlier with La Quinta and San Jose Airport, and same with right here behind the vBrochure link, a vanity website is basically an independent website. So if we're a part of a brand, all of our hotels are on Holiday Inn Express, HIExpress.com or Marriott.com and things like that. A vanity website is basically a separate website that you would pay for, that you manage or have a company that manages it, that has a lot more detailed content on your hotel with all the amenities that you offer, services, features, packages, booking links, pictures, all sorts of stuff. So a vanity website is basically an independent website.
Excellent. Thanks, Rupesh. And here are your key takeaways for 2014.
So some key takeaways for 2014, going back from all the things that I've kind of explained, is first off, people have increasingly been shopping online. So be sure your online presence was good, since the curb appeal has now become web appeal. Gain the edge on your competitors. Be outgoing and interact with guests on social media. As I mentioned, social media is one of the most underutilized channels, but is actually one of the largest channels. So get the edge on your competition and be outgoing and interact with guests.
And something I heard recently, although it's not a new saying, but it comes from Dale Carnegie, who said, if you want to be liked, be likable, which he expanded to say, be authentic, be a good listener, those sorts of things. And I think, just going back to those basics is very helpful when it comes to understanding how to maneuver through social.
Definitely, and also you want to make sure that you're not boring, that you're not,
That's
like,
right.
as a person wearing the same clothes every day. So you want to change up your pictures that are on your site, and you want to change your cover photos and your profile photos and constantly update it so that's fresh and attractive.
And I know something, there's a hotel on the East Coast in Rockville, Maryland. They do a great job of keeping, every day they Google, what happened in history today, and then they take whatever they find interesting and they'll tie that back to something meaningful for their hotel. And the sales director urges that if you're not the right person to write that clever copy on your Facebook page, there's likely someone in your hotel and someone who could put those pieces together for you. So often it's not just the role of one person at your property, but other folks who can be contributors to your Facebook posts.
Definitely. We actually have 3 people at, just for example, our La Quinta and Sounds Airport. We have 3 people that post on our website, our GM posts, our director of sales posts, and our front desk lead posts. So it's constantly updated with different content from different people.
Yeah, share the love.
So our travelers are on the go. Ensure your web appeal is also mobile friendly. As you guys saw on the slides before, searches for mobile devices are everly increasing and are just going to increase even more in 2014. Sell like a Fortune 500 company. Use video to sell your hotel and enhance your web appeal. As I said, a video allows a guest or potential decision maker to experience your hotel firsthand as if they're walking through your hotel. Use of rich media, virtual tours, and especially video will give you a big edge on your web appeal against your competition.
Thanks, Rupesh. I know, just judging from all the questions that have been coming in, and we didn't get to some of them, your insights and guidance are really helpful to our audience. A bunch of people sent in questions through the chat box asking what vBrochure is, which you mentioned a couple of times in your presentation. Rupesh uses vBrochure, which is a product that we have at VFM Leonardo. And vBrochure is a digital storytelling platform. It's a place where you can manage all of your visual content in a web-based tool, and then it allows you to organize it in a way that really tells your story. As you saw from some of Rupesh's slides, you then take that story and amplify it out to all of the channels that consumers are using during their various stages of travel. So for those of you who'd like more information on what that is and how that might be applicable for your property, I'm going to share some contact information with you at the end of today's presentation, and you can feel free to get a hold of us and have a further discussion on that. At this point, I'd like to reintroduce Melissa Bruckler, and Melissa is going to take us through her thoughts on 2014 relative to the Granite Hospitality property. So, Melissa, over to you.
Great. Well, good morning. Very excited to be here. We'll jump right in and talk about what tells a better story. What tells a better story? 5 paragraphs of text or pictures? People, especially when you're online, don't want to read a lot of text. As the old saying goes, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And in this case, especially with such a web-based world, it has never been more true. High quality, updated photos are really crucial to your success online. We also see a lot of increased engagement from fans using photos, and this has never been more prevalent than, for example, on Facebook. I know personally when I'm doing Facebook posts for my hotels, I get a lot more activity, a lot more engagement from posting a picture for guests as opposed to just posting a verbal text. So the takeaways here are, let photos tell your story. Pair your graphics with short text. I prefer bullet points to paragraphs myself, but pair your pictures with bullet points that are straightforward and to the point.
That's a good point, Melissa. We know that bulleted text captures people's attention because what we know they do in reading online is that they breeze through the information. So when it's bulleted and bolded and when you use rich descriptive text, that really catches their attention in a way that blocks of standard text don't.
So how do you find your story? How do you create a story for your hotel? The most important thing you can do is really listen to your guests. I think that this is a big challenge overall that we as hoteliers face, is really stopping in our day-to-day life and listening to our guests. TripAdvisor, for example, Facebook as well, but TripAdvisor is a great way of listening to your guests. People love TripAdvisor. They love sharing their stories about your hotel with not only you, but the rest of the general public. Engage them on social media such as Facebook. This is a great way to actually talk to your guests directly and have immediate interaction. Look around. Why do guests visit your area? Your hotel can be a destination, but the destination can also be area attractions. In this case, we're looking at Elitch Gardens in Denver. Find out why guests are visiting your hotel and really expand on that. Have great graphics, not only of your hotel, but of the area.
And that's another good point, Melissa. Joey from the audience is saying what he does is he tells people about the local coffee shops and, as you're doing here, local attractions, because at the end of the day, people don't check into their hotel, go to the room, and never leave again. You know, they're doing things in and around your property, so to the extent that you can be helpful to them by introducing them to the area, I think that goes a long way.
Well, in addition, I mean, we're going to be hopping into Facebook here in just a minute, but I do that a lot on Facebook. I'm connected with a lot of the area attractions, and I'm reposting some of the things that my guests might be interested, what might entice them to come, or if they're already coming, what might they like to do in the area while they're here. So again, it goes back to engaging your guests.
And Darren's saying that he also likes to sell his property based on the history of the hotel. And that's important too. There are people who want to know, you know, the provenance and the context of the property, you know, how long it's been around, you know, who the owners are, you know, any special things that have happened at the property. And that is particularly true, you know, if you're in a resort destination or if, you know, you're in an old part of the country that has a lot of historical architecture around.
Well, and kind of tapping into that as well, in some cases, the destination is the hotel. At that point, you really want to stress the differences. What do you have in terms of style and amenities that are going to differentiate you from anyone else?
Mm-hmm. We're going to jump into social, and then Anne has a question that I think is a really good one for you. So here's your next slide on Facebook.
Okay, great. So we'll jump right into Facebook. This is such a powerful tool, probably underutilized, as Rupesh had said, amongst hoteliers, but such a powerful online tool for hotels. And telling your story on Facebook is really pretty easy. Graphics and pictures really help make a visual impact and connect with your target guests. Is what engages them most. In the hotel, actually, if you can go back one slide, this hotel is a hotel in Sierra Vista, Arizona. And you might say, why would you visit Sierra Vista, Arizona? But they are very close to Tombstone. We have to work very hard, especially with social media, to engage guests and really let them know what's going on around the area. The next slide there is booking links. This is something that's, I'll say, is relatively new within the past year or two to Facebook, but enabling us as hoteliers to actually have direct booking links on our Facebook page. People love Facebook. They use it with their mobile devices, with their tablets, and allowing them to actually go from being engaged on your Facebook page to actually being a revenue provider for you is huge. So not only in this particular case do we have a booking link to our booking engine, we also have a Book Now link through our VFM platform. Not only they can book specials, we promote specials, and it goes back to the V brochure, but also, like I said, it allows them to actually book a reservation from their Facebook page.
Excellent. And this is Anne's question. She wants to know, how important is it in keeping the brand standards in social media? How do you manage those brand standards in social?
Well, I would say it's very important if you're part of a brand because
Yep.
they will slap your hands if you're not living up to their particular standards. Most of the brands have specific standards in terms of you can't be friends with or can't link to another brand or chain or hotel. Mm-hmm. So whereas you have a little bit more freedom when you're an independent property, mm-hmm. You're a bit more restricted when you're a part of a brand. On the other hand, a lot of the brands have booking tools, have their own apps and tools that they will actually apply to your Facebook page.
And here's a question, Melissa, from John, and he wants to know, how do you gain post views for posts with photos or links with the new Facebook algorithm? I don't know. I think what John's talking about is this algorithm actually posts those posts with photos above the posts with just links. So I guess what he's saying is, how do you encourage your fans to post things like video and photos on their Facebook page, or do you just solicit their input and leave them to post whatever they like?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, you want to, actually, if we go to the next couple of pages, we use a variety of ways. You definitely can post your own photos and links. You can encourage your guests to post. I'm going to go through this, and if I don't answer the question, I'll have him restate the question. But I think I'm going to address that in about another 2 slides. In terms of Facebook and increasing engagement, as we've talked about, photos and special offers are big for really engaging and interacting with your guests, much more than just simple text will do. Engagement on Facebook is higher than in other types of communication, mainly because it's direct. It's immediate. You can immediately get interaction from your guests. And of course, hotels with a higher number of fans are going to get more engagement than those with less. Now, one of the questions is, how do you get more fans? One of the things that I really like to do is to use Facebook ads and sweepstakes offers and giveaways to engage guests. You should have one more slide if you could hit the...
I do. Before we move on, because what you just said ties directly to something LaToya from our audience wrote in, because she was saying, what do you think the best techniques are to encourage likes or visibility? And I think you just helped answer her question by talking about contests and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So, kind of expanding on that, I definitely like text posts. I like to keep the page fresh and new and updated about area events, and I do sharing of other things that are in the area. But something that really I found is pretty big in increasing not only the number of people, of fans that you have, but also the engagement in getting people active in your page is, for example, a sweepstakes giveaway. In this case, we did a sweepstakes offer. This is Woodlands Hotel in Flagstaff. We partnered with a local attraction, the Flagstaff Extreme Adventure Course. It's a zip lining basically in an adventure course in the trees. And we put together a package and basically gave it away. We had about a 3-week time period where people had to sign up. They registered. They had to be a fan to win. They couldn't win if they weren't a fan. And they also had to give an email address, which we actually use later for additional types of marketing through email blasts. But we got a lot of engagement. Number one, the number of fans we received increased, and the number of people who are active. What I like to do in conjunction with this is do an ad. You can do very inexpensive targeted Facebook ads that will do a couple of different things. You could target guests who have never stayed with you. You can target feeder cities. You can target the friends of your current fans. So then on the side of their Facebook page, they'll have kind of a referral, if you will, from a friend of theirs that's a fan of yours. So I think that that's powerful because, as you stated earlier, and I believe as Rupesh stated earlier, people are more willing to stay with you if they feel like you're a friend or if you're referred by a friend. Facebook is the best way to get referrals from friends.
And here's a question from Seth in the audience, and it's talking about negative feedback. What if someone posts something that's negative on your Facebook page? How do you handle that? What's your recommendation?
I handle that. Now, there's a variety of probably opinions on this. I'm not one who likes to delete. At least I don't delete right away. And that's because if it's not there, they'll post it somewhere else. I am always an advocate, no matter what social channel, of responding to the guest, letting them be heard, and letting other people who are seeing that know that you are responding, know that you care, and knowing that you're taking it seriously and going to do something about it. I think that is more powerful than just deleting it. So we do get them, and we respond to them appropriately. We respond to them letting them know we hear you, we take it seriously, and here are the ways that we have addressed the issue. That way your other guests see not only that, that you care, but that you're actually taking action and that you're listening to them. This slide right here, the question a couple of minutes ago was kind of how do you get that picture or that post out there? Right. One of the things that Facebook can do, that you can do, is if you have a great photo or you have a great post, you can actually boost that post. You can spend as little as $5 to help basically advertise that post and that picture. And I've seen a lot of great success with this as well. And you choose your budget. It doesn't have to be expensive. It will last, I believe, up to 48 hours.
Excellent guidance, Melissa. John had a follow-up question to what you just said about responding to a review on Facebook. How is it that you interact with that guest? If you want to... Go ahead.
Okay, there are a couple of different ways. On the right-hand side of your Facebook page, there's an area, there's a recommendations tab, and there's also a guest comment tab. Whenever they post something, it will show up there. So I would respond there if it was publicly. However, Facebook also does have a private message feature. And so if they're messaging you via the private message feature, obviously I'm responding via the private message.
Excellent. Thanks, Melissa. And one more question before we continue from Pi, and this is a very popular question. What's your recommendation on how often you should be posting on Facebook?
Well, I found that it depends on the market. I have a couple, my Flagstaff Hotel, and I have a hotel in Buena Park near Disneyland and Knott's. I tend to post there much more frequently, like daily, as opposed to a couple of my other markets that have really less engagement, less fans, and less interaction in general. I kind of gauge it on what kind of engagement I have on the page.
Mm-hmm. No,
so
I think
I would say a minimum of once a week even in a very small community or a lower engagement area, I would say a minimum of once or twice a week would be my minimum.
Great. Thanks very much, Melissa. Here's your next slide.
So again, tapping into what you and Rupesh talked about earlier, most guests will use more than 24 touch points to research a trip. They're using social media, they're using the OTAs, the third-party sites, they're looking on yourbrand.com if you have that. They might be calling a travel agency, they may be looking on AAA.com. So our job as hoteliers in this day and age is really to be where they're at. We can't control how they're going to book. All we can control is that we are there when they're researching us.
Good point.
So we need to make sure our stories, our graphics, our pictures are available on our websites, brand.com, the independent or the vanity sites as we talked about earlier, mobile sites, tablet sites. We need to make sure we're on all the third-party sites, on the social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Those are just some of the areas the most key areas you need to make sure that your stories are being told.
And Melissa, here are your recommendations for 2014 to-dos.
Okay, your to-dos for 2014. First of all, get out there and share and be engaging. Go beyond your own website, leverage your videos across the multiple channels as we've discussed today. Facebook and other social networks are obvious channels to showcase your videos and your photos. And engage your guests. Engage them before, when they're researching, even during their visit, and after. The next step is to be where your guests are. Make sure that your photos, your content, your videos are where your guests are searching, sharing, and interacting. Be there with them. Use strong visuals that tell a compelling story, and they are a key to your online success. Use multiple forms of media, photos, videos, virtual tours. All of these are great ways to tell your story visually. Really budget to hire a professional photographer and videographer. It's money well spent, and you'll get your return tenfold.
Well, thanks very much for your insights, Melissa, and your guidance. Again, the audience had a ton of questions, and it was very helpful to them, I believe, in hearing what you had to say, both for what you're currently doing and some things to think about for 2014. So as we wrap up, let me just share the key takeaways from today's discussion, which is that travel is the world's largest industry, and together we can be leaders and trendsetters when it comes to digital marketing. So planning ahead and paying close attention to what your peers and competitors are doing will really help you stay ahead of the curve. And there's no other industry that has an inherently built-in story like hospitality. So really take the time now to create a 2014 marketing plan that includes developing your hotel narrative and then integrate it with large, rich visuals and context to inspire your guests. Hotels can create snackable content by converting material that you already have into these small, easy-to-digest snippets of information. And encourage your guests to post, as both Rupesh and Melissa talked about, particularly images and videos to all these social sites. And also don't forget to create a hashtag when you're posting so that your content is associated with your hotel, and therefore you'll make it easy for visitors to find you. And as Melissa just said, your customers are using multiple channels as they travel through that shopping journey, so it's really critical that you have presence on all those channels and that your presence represents your story and your brand in an effective and engaging way. And just lastly, we have just distributed our ebook for 2014 planning that has a lot of additional detail and guidance from industry experts and ourselves on what to focus on for 2014. So if you haven't already received that email with a link to that ebook, you can certainly find it on our website. So turn your hotel's Facebook page into a booking conversion tool, as Melissa talked about, and then that booking widget on each of those applications really leads visitors down the booking path, and it can be fully integrated with your chain's booking engine, which provides a seamless experience for what consumers are looking for. So I'm going to launch the last and final poll of today, and what we want to ask everyone is, based on today's content, how valuable did you find the webinar, and will you join us on a future webinar? And that is going to help us to understand what it is that you liked. We'll take all of your questions into consideration so that we make sure we keep delivering the content that you're looking for. So we have about 60% of folks who have voted, and by and large, everyone seems pretty satisfied with the content that we shared today. So that is very helpful for us to know. And again, keep sending in your comments, and we'll keep improving the content as we go, and certainly for 2014. So I'm going to close the poll. Again, thank you very much. And we'll just continue with the last part of the webinar content for today. So just a little bit about VFM for those of you who may not be as familiar with what we do. We help more than 100,000 hotels around the world syndicate their photos to the entire V network. But what we're really focused on is providing hoteliers with the storytelling platform that I referred to earlier as V Brochure, so that the consumer is engaged during their shopping journey. And it also will help to communicate the value that you provide so that you don't just sell on price, and you're able to set yourself apart from the competition such that the shopper is going to choose your property. And also, in closing, just keep an eye on your inbox for invitations to upcoming webinars. We vary the topics, and we'll keep you notified of what's coming up. We also recorded today's webinar, and subsequent to the presentation, you'll receive a thank you for joining us email with a link to that recording that you can share or listen to again at your leisure. And then again, I talked about the 2014 ebook that we've published. Feel free to download that where there's more detail available. Several of you have asked for contact information. Melissa, I know lots of people were asking for your information, so here it is for those of you who would like to contact Melissa. And then here is Rupesh's contact information as well. And of course, VFM Leonardo's information. You can go to our website, give us a call, follow us on Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. We are all out of time. You guys have been a great audience, very, very interactive. We appreciate you joining us. And Melissa and Rupesh, as always, thank you very much for your guidance. I know the audience found it very valuable. So to everyone, today is Thursday, which is the new Friday. Have a good weekend, and have a great week next week for those of you celebrating Thanksgiving. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
For your